Morning, Ron.
Hey, good morning. Corey, this is our discussion on one of our favorite topics today, I think, right?
I know it's one of my favorite topics.
It
I talk
is.
about it a lot and generally end up talking too much sometimes, I think, but I enjoy talking about it. So we will try to keep today short, but no promises.
Okay. Well, last time we were talking about going from an individual contributor, like if you're a machinist and you start running the machine shop, to a manager level,
Yep.
or an entrepreneur level, you start your own business, how those skill sets are so different from the skill that you have as a recruiter or a bricklayer, and all of a sudden the skill sets it takes to be a manager. And I remember one of the things we talked about is getting a new mindset.
Yep. So it's not only a different skill set, that's the tactical side of changing jobs, right? Being a
Yep.
business owner is a job. Being the president of a company is a job.
Big one.
But it is the mindset that's the difference between the individual contributor than the whatever the new role is, whether it be the next level manager, whether it be the CEO or the president. Nobody is born with that mindset. You have to generally learn it. Some people pick it up a lot faster than others, but everybody can pick it up.
Part of that mindset, I was talking to somebody this week, and they're talking about their individual contributor role, and they're a salesperson. And I said, yeah, that's awesome. And he said, yeah, it really is great, because at the end of the day, I just go home and I'm done with the job. I periodically might think of somebody I should call, but it's all done. I said, yeah, and you know what the difference is when you are a manager or an entrepreneur? You're not done at the end of the day.
It's never done.
Never done. It's
Nope.
24/7.
Yeah, it's the difference between tactical and strategy. And when we look at it, I mean, if you move up into a management role where you are now in charge of people, where that's now kind of a responsibility, things happen in people's lives, and they happen every day at all hours of the day, and your job is to now be available to them. And even if it's, hey, you have to call me when you can't come to work, so you call me early in the morning, or you call me the day before, or something has happened and I need to take off work for a week, you're now generally the first person that they call when that happens. I've seen some organizations that take that sort of after hours and scheduling stuff away from first lines and second lines and shift it all to like an HR office. Then the HR office notifies. But that doesn't happen very often because HR departments don't want to be available 24/7.
Well, yeah, and when I was in HR, I didn't want that call. But even more important, why we always put it in our policy manual is they want that employee to face that supervisor, to call that supervisor. And so the HR, they could just leave a, blah, just a nothing kind of note, and yeah, I'm sick, I'll be in, who knows. But you have to talk to your manager, you better have a good explanation. And because that manager is counting on you being there. So here's the back to the mindset, that manager's always got to be thinking strategy, like, what do I do when an employee calls out sick?
Yep.
What do I have an employee that can jump right in? Do I have to call a temp agency? Every minor even personnel change or whatever that employee is doing will have a consequence.
Oh, absolutely.
And you've got to have a strategy to handle every one of those myriad of opportunities for, oh my goodness, what do I do now?
Yeah, especially if you are in a small group and you are one person deep in a skill set. One person being gone for a day can disrupt, depending on the size of the business, thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of cash flow in a day. And imagine if they're gone for a week or if something happens in an accident. So thinking beyond the tactical part of the position, and now I have to think about strategy. Is it a good idea for me to teach multiple people to do a task? Is it important for me to focus on ways to handle interruptions in personnel or in production or whatever my scope of responsibility is? And that's not necessarily always the first thing on their mind. Usually it's, okay, I'm coming in today, what's hot in my email, what fire is people are they presenting to me today, what is it that I have to do right now? And sometimes they don't realize that that's not necessarily what you have to focus on to solve. But once you become the people or the person that people bring problems to, you become the person that people bring problems to. Instead of understanding, can I solve this myself, or do I actually need someone's help to solve it? And I've seen organizations where it's, nope, you don't solve it yourself, and it just elevates all the way up to the top just to solve a simple problem. And now the amount of time and money you're spending just to solve a problem that could be truly handled at the lowest level, or maybe even the next level up, it just kind of gets ridiculous, because everybody feels, one, I need to be involved, I need to exert my influence and make a decision just so I can say I made a decision, versus realizing, okay, that's a tactical problem versus a strategic problem. And it's something as simple as, hey, we're making this product, or we're talking to this customer, and this customer has a problem, or this product has a problem, and it's something as simple as, I can fix this here and now and let people know that I fixed it? Or is this something that's, okay, we've had a supplier change and now everything we're getting from the supplier doesn't fit? Now we're talking about, now we need to be at a strategic level, not necessarily at the tactical level. And so understanding how to look at problems differently, especially if you've been promoted up and through, it's like, okay, I used to have to handle everything at the tactical level. What does it mean to not handle things at the tactical level anymore? Because there's usually, not always, somebody who backfills you when you move up. Well, it's their job to think tactically, it's your job to think strategically.
Yeah, when you're moving up in a company, I had a chart where it showed that the first line supervisor, let's say you got to run in a warehouse, the mix is 80% tactical, get that product out on pallets, on trucks today.
Yep.
And then 10 or 20% is strategic, and that strategic is, yeah, but I've got to plan the week. It can't just be today, because tonight all these products are coming in. So I got to make sure I'm set up for tomorrow. The next level, where you have now maybe supervisor reporting, then it goes to, 60% strategic, 50% strategic, and maybe 50% tactical. And then when you're the person at the top, it should be like 80% strategic, 20% tactical. Smaller company, of course, you are doing a lot on your own. It might be 50-50, but you better be training other people with your knowledge. Sometimes your ego gets in the way. I know this is my place in life, and
right,
that's my value.
I'm the expert here.
I'm the expert. But you get in a small operation, you better be training other people. So strategic thing to do is training programs. What do you train people in? What is it you're going to need? How do you go cross-training? And the smaller the organization is, training takes time. How are you going to train that wait staff in a restaurant? When you're up and the bell's going and you're off and running.
And you're constantly working, right?
And you're constantly working, but you've got to cross-train. And you and I both know, I can walk into any restaurant, I can tell you that wait staff was trained in customer service or not. you know that they're consistently providing some level of customer service or not. That's training. So somebody took the time out to design that training program. So just designing a training program, these are all things that a lot of people don't think about when they're going to go into business. It's the ability to connect dots is, one thing if you're designing a product or you're marketing a product, but the manager's got to connect all the dots of, there was a problem I saw in manufacturing one time where the designers that were designing the product never talked to the manufacturing people.
Yeah.
So you could see what happened.
Absolutely.
They would design this wonderful, this gizmo that could do anything.
And
right?
Manufacturing couldn't make it.
Manufacturing couldn't make it.
So then manufacturing engineers changed it.
Yeah. And so they spent all this time.
Then tech support couldn't fix it because it didn't match what engineering created. Oh, absolutely.
So
I know where that goes.
The kahuna at the top, he invented this department called Advanced Manufacturing Engineering. That was between the design engineering people and the manufacturing people, so that they made sure that product was designed so they could actually build it easily. So it's just, and that's in well-run companies when these things happen, let alone, when you're going to be an entrepreneur, to be able to think ahead. There's a skill level right there you got to have. You got to think ahead. Well, what's going to happen if I open up this new business? What could go wrong? That's kind of a negative look, but what could go wrong? Worst case analysis. I got to plan around that. You've said so many times, 8 or 9 out of 10 businesses fail when they start up?
Yeah, within the first 5 years.
Yeah. So that's not new. So why don't we have a kit that says, avoid all these mistakes so you won't fail?
Well, I would think by now those exist, believe it or not.
Yeah, they've got
it. The information is out there. It all boils down to mindset. Ultimately, right?
Yes.
We can talk about, hey, you've got this problem, and as an owner, as a manager, but if you look at it at the tactical level, all you'll do is you'll see the tactical problem, not the big overall problem. And when you look at it that way, you solve the immediate problem. You don't look at the really, really big problem and decide, okay, is this something I should change? Is this really just a problem I need to do now? And if it's a tactical problem and you keep fixing the same tactical problem over and over and over and over again, obviously there's a strategic problem that's much bigger that needs to be addressed. Am I in the right market space? Is my pricing right? Am I getting my message out? Am I marketing this the right way? What's really the problem? Not versus, I need to sell 5 more this week.
Yeah, I love when you said that. What is the real problem? I teach this course on problem solving. And I notice over the years that where most people go wrong, they haven't defined the right problem to begin with.
Right.
So that's where you start is, wait a minute, is this really the problem?
Or is this a symptom?
Or is it a symptom? And the other thing you said was talking about these problems is, you can fix this problem over here, but maybe that solution affects something else over here. That creates a bigger problem. The unintended consequences.
Yep.
So again, the manager's got to have that huge mindset that understands all that. Yeah, we could fix this here, but down the line it's going to hurt the customer there.
Yep. And so when I think about that, I was thinking about this while we were talking. I was talking about really what the business acumen process or the thought process is behind everything that an organization does at all levels, and being able to look at, you even mentioned the engineering problem. it's like in engineering creates this great thing and we get it to manufacturing, and manufacturing engineering has to change it because something doesn't work within the scope of what the real world is versus the theoretical world of what engineering creates. And when we start thinking, okay, so if I solve a problem at the tactical level, I may not know what that affects. Mm-hmm. And I may not be thinking of it in the aspects of the organization as a whole. It's like, right. I've got this customer who's extremely upset, and I'm going to do everything I'm going to do. You know what? I'm going to take everything that they bought and take it back and give them all of their money back. And then turn around and give them something that really solves their problem discounted because they're so angry. I want to make them happy. Mm-hmm. But by doing something as simple as that, without realizing what that does to the rest of the organization, not just your little bubble of it, could be hugely detrimental and take a long time to recover from. One of the things that I enjoyed doing previously was going and sitting with other departments. Mm-hmm. And to sit down and say, what is it that you do? How is it what I do affect you? So when we're talking about, hey, I need this product rushed out the door right now, well, who does that affect? Well, that affects the entire inventory management, shipping, the warehouse. It affects all of those people. And accounting, because now accounts receivable has to be made aware of what's going on so they can adjust things and create invoices to tell shipping to ship. And if shipping has already got their plan built for the day, they know what time the trucks are going to be there, and now I've got to interrupt that for this. That one little decision for one customer can interrupt an entire organization. And if you can't look at it, again, that's at the strategic level, not at the tactical level, you may create more problems than you solve. And so that's huge to be able to do that. And I recommended it to everybody. I highly recommend you go and you find another department and you spend a couple hours with them talking to them about what it is they do and how is it what you do affects them.
HP did exactly that. It took it one level. When they hire somebody in a department, part of they didn't call it onboarding them, but part of their orientation was you spent 1 week in the department that your organization fed their service or product to, and 1 week in the department that fed you.
Oh, that's brilliant.
I thought it was, because, man, you walk in those shoes, you change your whole attitude. Because let's say in a pretty good sized company, what typically happens is, and I saw it time and time again, you go into this department and they say, we're having trouble with those engineers trying to throw everything in here with their attitude. And so what that department would do to stop that annoyance that they got was they come up with all these procedures. In order for you to submit this thing, you had to put it in writing. You had to fill out this requisition. So they threw up this bureaucratic approach to fixing their problem. And it worked great for them.
Yep, not for anybody else.
Not for anybody else. So we go back in, the thought process that goes into being a manager of any level is immense. That leap from that nice little job that I had in the warehouse to running the warehouse, which happened to me, oh my goodness. I had to think about hundreds of things. That's not my little part of it.
Yep.
And that's like our discussion today is, you and I know we could go on all day on this topic with throwing out these issues and concerns and strategies versus tactical, and think of all the HR responsibilities. Back to HR and HP. HP used to require every manager to be an HR manager. So in other words, if you were going to go in and run that department, you had to know the benefits. You had to know the pay structures. You had to know the how they got paid. You had to know how we hired people and all of that HR world. So you were the person, the go-to person. HR was over here supporting you.
How many people would want to back out of a management role once they heard that?
A lot.
It's like, I don't want to be in HR.
When you were at HP, though, it was an honor. So it was like, because also they had that culture.
Right.
Where everybody, the employee would go in and so they even respected their manager more. That the manager could say, listen, this is the benefit program, and I know, maybe not all the details.
At least know of it.
But know of it, so they can say, it sounds like you should go talk to HR and maybe change the number of dependents you have or something like that. So the beauty of that I saw was that the manager was the go-to person. They got the respect and cooperation from their people. And it wasn't HR versus management anymore. See, the manager had to own. They had to own their training and development and all the other HR roles. So it was an interesting model that certainly at that time it worked. I think, it's like Back to the Future. You go back to the original HP to find out a lot of wonderful management practices that they figured out early on that people, I think, today are still trying to break the code on that and maybe coming up with more technical solutions
to solve the same problem.
To solve that same problem when really it's being a good manager.
It's all, it's about the people at that point.
It's all, you keep hearing me saying it's all about people today. I keep saying that the tech is kind of leveled the playground, and now it's the people you rely on to get things done. I always think it was that way anyway, because the people come up with the technical solutions.
Yep.
You got software experts, you got people who are real tech savvy today, the millennials that we hire. So most of the issues today, I think, are going to be about relationship with your people. There's another strategy that you got to think of as being a manager. Customer relations, employee relations, community relations, relationships with stockholders if you ever get it to that level.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's a big task, not easy. That's why you and I are here to help that people got to grow to this level of getting that management mindset. At least I like to believe that.
Yeah. The management mindset, the business owner mindset, the entrepreneurial mindset.
Right.
Just thinking differently, not thinking tactical.
Yeah. It's a big deal.
It is. Well, I know that we've got at least another half a page of notes to go through, but
we could.
I think we'll quit jabbing for today.
Okay.
And we will tell everybody thank you for watching us, those of you who are watching us live. For those of us who are watching this as a recording, thank you as well. Leave your comments, suggestions down below. Let us know what you think. Let us know if there's a topic you would like for us to answer, or a problem you'd like for us to solve. Again, this is Corey.
And I'm Ron.
And we will talk to you guys next time.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.